The 2000s was nothing if not a rhinestone, tracksuited, low-rise, highlighted, and thinly eyebrowed heaven. The MTV Awards performances, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie in The Simple Life.
I don't know. What is Walmart?
Abercrombie and Fitch, namely their risque advertisements. Lindsay Lohan at any point, really. The 2000s saw a rise of giant logos, emo and scene styles, low-rise jeans, layering, and accessory overload. And while all of these fashion miracle trends were fun to watch and fawn over on our favorite skinny, sun-kissed celebrities, trying to fit into these trends as a teenager during this time was a recipe for trauma that would carry well into adulthood. The following are some iconic fragrances that forcefully remind me of that time in my adolescence. Okay, I've literally recorded this like 3 times now, so this better be the one or I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm about to get trauma just from trying to film this fucking video. Hey guys, today I am filming a video I have been so excited to write and record, and that is fragrances that to me are just iconic fragrances from the 2000s. Maybe some are from the 90s if we want to get technical. They just remind me of my childhood. They give me nostalgia. Is it good? Is it bad? Doesn't matter. It's in this video. First fragrance I have to include in this video. It is legally required of me. Otherwise, was I even on planet Earth during the 2000s? The first one I have is Britney Spears Fantasy. How could I not include this? This was iconic fragrance of the 2000s. I mean, Britney Spears herself, pop queen, icon, legend. This fragrance, no different. Got top notes of kiwi, red lychee, quince, middle notes of white chocolate, cupcake, orchid, and jasmine, base notes of musk, orris root, and woodsy notes. This one is just such a quintessential part of my teenagehood. I was born in 1991, so this is like early to mid-teens. That's what this smell reminds me of. It's like fruity, it's so sweet. It's that white chocolate, it's so unique and it's so distinct. The scent, I just feel like you could always point it out. You know what this is if you smell it, and you know fragrances. You always can point out Britney Spears Fantasy. I love this. The bottle was so iconic as well. Man, I remember those bottles, that pink with the rhinestones, that original Fantasy bottle. It was like just aesthetically so fitting for its time. Yeah, I couldn't not include this fragrance in a video about fragrances from the 2000s. Do you guys like this hairdo? Is this too late 2000s? Next fragrance on my list is Paris Hilton's Heiress. I was lucky enough to get a 10 ml rollerball, and when I smelled this, it just took me right back. It smells exactly like I remember it. This one, you've got top notes of champagne, passion fruit, peach, orange, and mimosa. Middle notes of grenadine, tiare flower, ylang ylang, honeysuckle, and star jasmine, and base notes of tonka bean, violet leaf, and white woods. It's not quite your typical celebrity fragrance for the time. That champagne is what makes it really unique and stand out for me. I feel like this is something I wore as a teenager when I really wanted to feel like a grown-up. I wanted to feel mature with that champagne note in there. It's so yummy and special and distinct. I actually have a very specific memory tied to this one. Did you guys ever watch the show on MTV Sweet 16? They would document these like rich kids, basically. Sometimes they'd be like celebrities' kids, and they would document them planning these really extravagant birthday parties. I mean, they'd be so over the top. They would be renting these massive venues. They would have these beautiful gowns, extensions, facials, their makeup professionally done, the whole nine just for this party. And I feel like that was a huge influence on, I mean, me at least as a teenager. And I begged my mom, I was like, can we please have a Sweet 16? Actually, I don't even know if I begged her. She may have been the one with the idea. I ended up having a Sweet 16, and she so lovingly, like my mom went above and beyond for me. I was definitely a spoiled kid. She booked out this local performance theater, and I invited basically everyone at my school, got a really beautiful dress, a red strapless dress. It had lace all over it, and it was like full of these little rhinestones. It was so beautiful. I got extensions as well, and they were big and curly. I had like Taylor Swift hair, and the day came, 3, 4 of my friends came, I remember I was so mortified. I was so upset. I went to the bathroom and cried. Like, it just sounds so stupid because, well, it was embarrassing because I even had my friends help me pass out invitations to everyone, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna have like the best party ever. Nobody came. So my brain chemistry changed that day. And it ended up being a lot of fun. Me and my friends, we like took our shoes off and we're running around the theater and dancing, and it actually ended up being really awesome. God, I was such a shit as a kid. Like, I really just expected the world when you think you're that girl and you're not that girl. Not that girl. Anyways, I feel like I wore this perfume on that day. I don't know, for some reason I smell this and I just think of that day. It's kind of like a bittersweet memory. Listen, I just wanted everyone to like me, and that has transcended my teenage years well into adulthood. I'm still that way. The trauma has transcended. The next one I have on my list is Sweet Almond Blossom by Floral Street. This one has notes of passion fruit, pomelo, apple blossom, vanilla, tonka bean, mandarin orange, heliotrope, sandalwood, and matcha tea. This, to me, it just straight up smells like Kool-Aid. There's nothing else really to say about it. It just smells like Kool-Aid to me. It smelled like Kool-Aid the first time I smelled it, and the second time I smelled it, I had my husband smell it, and he said, yes, it does indeed smell like Kool-Aid. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Does it smell like Kool-Aid to you guys? I love the smell. It smells absolutely lovely, but I don't know if I want to smell like Kool-Aid, but it is very nostalgic, and it immediately transported me back to 2002, maybe even earlier. Probably transported me back to the 90s, making Kool-Aid in those big plastic pitchers, putting in, you know, 2 gallons of sugar. Delicious, good for you. Well, it smells good. I don't even know what flavor of Kool-Aid it smells like. It just has that Kool-Aid smell. I don't know. The next one on my list is Britney Spears Curious. When I had this one, it was the classic blue bottle, but it had the puff spray atomizer. Do you guys remember those? I don't know if they even make them anymore. Maybe that was only the previous iteration of Curious, because I feel like they definitely reformulated it. And this one, the top notes are magnolia, pear, and lotus. The middle notes are jasmine, tuberose, and cyclamen. Base notes are musk, vanilla, white woods, and sandalwood. Yeah, so like I mentioned, I do like the smell of this one. It's like, it's dusty, powdery, like a shallow white floral. It's just young. It's young and fun. I kind of remember it smelling a lot better. I feel like they reformulated this. It still has enough of its original DNA for it to take me back. It's very simple. That makes it young and fresh, and I think that's fine. I think a fragrance can be simple. I don't think it has to be super complex to enjoy it. This is one of those for me. The next one on my list is Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani. It's a timeless one that everyone loves, but it's just been out so long. I can't help but to associate it with maybe some less than savory male figures that were in my life during my formative years. You know, I will say it's a laundry list of notes. I'll put them here. I'll have you know though, their version of Acqua di Gio that I absolutely love is the Profumo version. And while this still reminds me of the original, I really do like this. I love the Profumo. It's a more refined version of the fuckboy vibes that the original Acqua di Gio gives me. This one, I think this one's better though. You should get this one. If you're a guy, get the Profumo. If you've got a partner that wears men's fragrances, get them this one. It smells amazing and I love it. Next on my list is Cucumber Melon by Bath & Body Works. I don't have the original Cucumber Melon. I'm sorry. What I have for reference that I found recently is actually this Body Fantasies Cucumber Melon, but to me it smells so similar that it still gives me that nostalgia factor. When we were kids, we all had like a color, right, that we were assigned, and that went for, you know, toiletries like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, cutlery, plates, cups, stuff like that. We all had a color, right? Our bedding, stuffed animals that we got, we had like our color. My color was green, and whenever we went to Bath & Body Works, I always got the green stuff. So, and I loved it. It was my favorite color, and I loved Cucumber Melon. So when I smell this, it just reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me of being a kid in the summer specifically. This is a great summer scent, and I'm so glad that I found this Body Fantasies ones, because getting those Bath & Body Works scents here in Australia is just way too expensive. This was $10 for a 100ml bottle. I'm so happy I found it. It's simple. Listen, it's simple, but I think that's fine. It doesn't need to be super complex to make me happy, and that's exactly what I found in this one. I could not make this video and not include this fragrance. It would be a literal crime. Aquilina's Pink Sugar. You love her, you hate her, she existed. She was everywhere. And I sprayed this like a mother. This is top notes of raspberry, orange, fig leaf, and bergamot. Middle notes of cotton candy, licorice, strawberry, red berries, and lily of the valley. Base notes of caramel, vanilla, musk, tonka bean, and sandalwood. And like I said, this is just me. This is what my go-to. I wore this every freaking day. I'm sure I went through a few of these bottles when I was younger. I actually think this was the first bottle of perfume I ever got. It might actually be like my very own, my bottle. I think this was the first one I got, and I wore it well into my 20s. I don't wear it as much as I used to. I think I've kind of moved on a little bit from the scent, but I still love it. I know a lot of people say it smells like burnt sugar, and I can get that. I can get that, the burnt sugar note, but I kind of like that about it. Kind of like that it smells like burnt sugar. It's just, heck, it's just so iconic. Like, whether you like it or not, this is, for me, this is the 2000s in a bottle, all the way. I will forever love this one, and I probably will always have a bottle of this. I mean, I wore it so much, my husband said that this immediately reminds him of me. I mean, for that reason, I can never not have one. I seriously abused this so much. You know, right after I flat ironed the hell out of my wet hair, put on my North Face, and then douse it in this stuff. Absolutely wrecked all of my clothing with this stuff, and it reminds me of high school. I think it reminds me of my freshman year of high school specifically. Next one on my list is an Abercrombie & Fitch fragrance, Authentic for Women. Even though this isn't actually from the 2000s, it still has that very Abercrombie-esque scent, like generic sweet citrus scent. This one specifically is top notes of pear, red currant, and mandarin orange, middle notes of nectarine, magnolia, lily of the valley, and base notes of amber, cedar, and sandalwood. Yeah, so this just reminds me of what I remember the stores smelling like a generic citrusy sweet scent that body shames you as you walk into the store and then laughs at you when you walk out empty-handed because you realize that everything is low-rise and you hate low-rising yourself because you're not a twig. Yeah, we all got issues from that time. What the hell were with those ads? Do they still, there's no way they get away with some of those risque ads that they used to do. I'm still shocked that they definitely were marketing towards like kids. All right, the next scent on my list is Red Door by Elizabeth Arden. This one's got a laundry list of notes, but the synopsis is basically, this is very soapy, very powdery, lovely vintage scent for those who like those accords. But for me, I just think of grandma. I think of my grandma. I'm pretty sure I saw this on her dresser at some point. I'm almost positive not one, maybe all of them had this fragrance. I mean, it's been around for a long time. I don't know, it's nostalgic, but I don't know, is it nostalgic in a good way? I'm not really sure. I just kind of think of one of my grandmas when I smell this, and I mean, it's still nostalgic, just in a different way, so I added it to this list. Still an iconic fragrance, whether or not you like it. Next on my list is Golden Nectar by Nest. This has notes of vanilla, amber, orchid, musk, and suede. You hear all those notes and you go, oh, okay, well that smells very, I don't know what you would think when you see those notes, but I smelled it and it smelled like a 90s lipstick. Again, not a bad scent to me. It smelled like a 90s lipstick, maybe a 2000s lipstick. Just like a generic lipstick scent. Again, like I said, not bad, but it was very nostalgic as it just brought me back to playing in my mom's makeup as a very young child, pulling out all of her lipsticks, drawing circles with all of her lipsticks on her beautiful white wall of the apartment. When she walks in the room, I tell her, look mom, it's a map of Disneyland. And yes, that is a thing that actually happened, and I'm sure she remembers that to this day because I do. She was very upset. I mean, I made a map of Disneyland from memory. I mean, how could you be mad at that? To her, it probably just looked like a bunch of circles, but it was obviously a very detailed map of Disneyland that I drew when I was 3 years old. Just didn't appreciate the art. Next on my list is Burberry Brit for Her. This is another classic. It's got top notes of almond, lime, and pear, middle notes of candied almond, sugar, and peony, and base notes of vanilla, tonka bean, amber, and mahogany. This reminds me of waking up really early in the morning before school. It's got like such an uncanny freshness with the lime. It reminds me of summer, but it specifically reminds me of going to the lake as a kid. So we went to a lake called Detroit Lake. We went there pretty much every summer. That's probably why I associate associate it with that time, probably because my mom wore it during the summer, and I smell that and I just think of the summer on the lake. Those are happy memories. We were wakeboarding, we were swimming, instantly transports me back to summer, and I love that. Classique by Jean-Paul Gaultier. This has top notes of orange blossom, star anise, rose, mandarin orange, pear, bergamot, middle notes of ylang ylang, ginger, orchid, iris, tuberose, and plum, base notes of vanilla, amber, musk, cinnamon, and sandalwood. It reminds me of like a strong female figure in my life. Like it's only slightly sweet, powdery floral. It's got that nice strong kick from the ginger and the anise, and it just reminds me of the women in my life that were comforting and strong. It smells like a big warm hug, and this one's definitely not traumatic at all. This one is still a beautiful fragrance. In fact, it's on my list of fragrances to buy, and I love the bottle. The bottle's iconic. It's such an iconic fragrance, and I think it's another one that stood the test of time. Yeah, I love this one, and I want to rebuy it and wear it myself and be that strong, independent woman that I remember. Last but definitely not least, Viva la Juicy by Juicy Couture. I mean, I think I had to include at least one Juicy Couture fragrance in this video, otherwise, again, another crime. This has top notes of wild berries, mandarin orange, middle notes of gardenia, honeysuckle, and jasmine, and base notes of caramel, praline, vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. Oh God, it's another one that has stood the test of time. It's light, fun, it's feminine, but it's not like teeny bopper. I feel like this has definitely stood the test of time. It's such a good juicy scent. It's definitely one of their best. I mean, you just think of velour zip-ups and tracksuits and rhinestones and those cute juicy, I loved those Juicy Couture bags, by the way. I have a memory specifically of a Juicy bag that had like a palm tree on it, or it had like a sunset and a palm tree with brown handles. I'll try and find a photo of it. But this smell reminds me of that bag for some reason. It's probably a bag my mom had. This is another really good one. I think it's another one that I could easily, I would and I will wear this today. To me, I don't find it too sweet, even though it is sweet and fruity, but it's got some beautiful florals in there, and it's very youthful, but not teeny bopper, in my opinion. I don't know what teeny bopper means. In my mind, it makes sense. I don't know if that means anything to you. I would wear this at any time of the year. Any time of the year, any time of the day. Such a good one. Also, I just want to mention, I just grabbed Juicy Couture Glacé, just the quickest one. I love their bottles. I don't care. Call them tacky, call them kitschy, whatever. I think they are so cute, and they perfectly embody their brand. It's so fitting for the scents, everything. I just think they're cute. I think they're adorable. Even if you don't like the scent, you cannot deny that the bottles are freaking adorbs. Totes adorbs. Don't say that. All right, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this one. I cannot wait to do more of these. These are, like I mentioned, these are my favorite videos to do. And that's all I have, and I will see you in the next one. Please tell me if you liked my makeup. Do you want a tutorial? I'm gonna go bathe in this. I'm gonna bathe in 10 mils.